Today we've gathered in this panel to discuss new media networks, much like the network that I founded 5 years ago, the Women's International Perspective, or the WIP. During the allotted time that I have to speak, I'd like to discuss 3 things. 1, how the internet, a medium that we have utilized to deliver news and perspectives that are underreported and underrepresented, is under threat. Number 2, how low levels of women in media leadership positions alters the news that we receive. And number 3, the challenges that websites like the Women's International Perspective face to deliver news and opinions from women's perspectives, and that is funding. In the past decade, the internet has undoubtedly provided for very little money in contrast to the millions of dollars that have been spent by the corporate media. The depth, context, diversity, analysis, and investigation that the traditional media is seeing less and less. It has also led to another important development, and that is the rise of websites like ours that are committed to publishing women's voices and perspectives, because we know that their underrepresentation in the media is not only a question of parity, but it is critical to providing solutions to many of the issues that we as individuals and as nations are facing. I think I speak for everyone on this panel that it is our belief and our vision that bringing women's perspectives, values, and ideas into balance with men's perspectives is that we can collectively move humanity forward and begin to solve some of the major crises that we face worldwide, whether it's crises with the environment, whether it's terrorism, whether it's poverty, whether it's hunger, or whether it's many of the multitude of human rights abuses that we are facing. One critical principle that we all must concern ourselves with is net neutrality. That is the standard that the internet is a territory that's free and open to all of us, whether we are the WIP, Women in Media News, the Global Press Institute, that our websites will run as quickly and as smoothly as websites like CNN and MSNBC. When readers on our website load live chats, podcasts, and video, that they will run as smoothly as they do on sites like Facebook and YouTube. That is because of net neutrality. Internet service providers like AT&T, Comcast, and Verizon, they may own the pipes that connect users to the internet, but they cannot mess with what's inside those pipes. Net neutrality. We all get the exact same speed and the exact same quality, whether we are independent, nonprofit news websites or large conglomerate corporate media. While net neutrality may threaten our very existence as independent news websites, women, our perspectives, our values, and our concerns face an even more insidious threat. And that is our low representation in media leadership positions. Last year, the International Women's Media Foundation conducted its first ever international news study of women in the media. The report shows that men occupy 79% of top management jobs around the world in media. Our concern at the WIP is that this gender imbalance skews what is deemed newsworthy. One of our contributors, Linda Tarr-Whelan, once told me that while issues like taxes and national security dominate the political conversation in this country and therefore demand a large percentage of the media's attention, these are not necessarily the issues that are of interest to women. When asking the women who write for the WIP to deliver stories that are important to them and their communities, we end up publishing a variety of content that is in sharp contrast to what you see in the mainstream media. Our stories often center on gender inequalities and human rights abuses, even though we've never asked our writers to contribute on these topics. We ask them to contribute their own perspectives on a variety of issues, and not necessarily issues that interest women. Recently, I asked our writers to help me in a fundraising effort to submit reasons why the WIP is important to them. Overwhelmingly, they cited the opportunity to highlight voices and perspectives that are underrepresented in the mainstream media. A WIP contributor from Egypt told me that few publications highlighted the role of women in the popular uprising that brought an end to 30 years of corruption and tyranny, and how much she appreciated and respected the freedom to honestly report these voices for an international audience. In Pakistan, a senior editor from a publication that's a leading publication in her country told me that it was so frustrating to always be in the news for the wrong reasons. And that the WIP for her provided a space where social issues, which are generally brushed off in the media as men's issues and that focus primarily on politics, have a space and an opportunity at the WIP. Yet, as important as this work is, websites like ours face many hardships in our effort to deliver stories from women journalists around the world. I'm sure that I'm not the only one on this panel that works day in and day out for no salary. When the WIP first entered the marketplace, it was a time when the blogosphere was exploding as an alternative to mainstream media. Many of the blogs that came to dominate the online field were liberal and were political in nature. Journalists and netizens, they were angry with the handling of the Afghan war. They were upset with what they saw as an illegal occupation of Iraq, and they were concerned with what they saw as the trampling of their civil liberties here at home. News websites had an impact because they reached millions of readers that the mainstream media with telling a story that the mainstream media, with its cushy access to Washington, D.C. and its corporate ownership, was not telling. Websites like the Huffington Post prioritized coverage and compensated bloggers with something that was akin to recognition, but not with a stipend and not with a salary. When the WIP launched in 2007, asking women contributors to join our publication for free was not even considered. We also quickly discovered that women writers were less interested in opinion and politics and more interested in human rights stories. Unfortunately, for a site like ours, what this means is less traffic and less commentary. To compensate for this, we became a nonprofit in January, which takes my work away from the important editorial work with our writers and into the realm of fundraising. But this is something I am willing to do because of my sincere belief that it is these voices and perspectives that will open up a space for dialogue and lead to peace on earth. Thank you very much.